Welcome to the Level Up Life podcast. I'm your host, Scottie Hobbs, where we're here to remind you that your family is your most important work on earth, help you feel better, and learn how to earn more income for your family. I'm here with my friend Wes Bewley, who is a top earner in affiliate marketing with over 25 years of experience in this space. You'll learn what it takes to become successful in any business endeavor. During this episode, you'll touch base with discovering what your dream and vision for your life might be. Wes, welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, Scotty, good to be on with you. So my name is Wes Bewley. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I've pretty much been in Texas my whole life. I had a short stint in Nashville for a little while, but you know, this has pretty much been home most of my life. And uh, I started off, early in life doing a lot of physical labor, stuff like that. My dad was in construction, and so I had to work with him every summer, but as early as I could, I got into affiliate marketing, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
That's awesome. Now, when you say early on you got into affiliate marketing, how old were you?
18. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, I was a walk-on at Texas Tech University on the track and field, program. And back then, the NCAA uh they had this little rule that you couldn't have a job, but if the fine print didn't say anything about a business, so it's kind of like a little loophole. And so I found a supplement brand and became an affiliate for them. And, since I was a walk-on, it wasn't like I was on some incredible scholarship. So I still had to pay my way through school and all those type of things. And so being an affiliate, getting into affiliate marketing early on allowed me to pay my way through school. And then pretty soon I was making more money than all my professors. And I was like, okay, I'm out of here. So that's kind of how that got going.
Awesome. So are you telling me you didn't finish college? You walked out?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
by the time I was 19, I was probably generating about, I mean, I don't want to say probably, I mean, I just don't want to make an income claim, but I was doing six figures a year as a 19-year-old. And so it kind of became like, what's the point, right? Because I didn't want to be a doctor. Like I
Mhm.
always tell people, if you want to be a doctor, like please go to school. Please. If you want to be a dentist, please go to school. But I didn't know, I just wanted to be in some type of marketing. I didn't care, how. So it gets really hard to go to class whenever you're already doing what you want to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I knew once I got a taste of affiliate marketing, I'm like, I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. Like there's nothing higher than this.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call you out here. How old are you? Because I want to see how long you've been in this space.
Why don't you take a guess, Scott?
You are 40,
43.
43. Okay, we're about the same age. I just turned 44 last week.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Happy
So,
birthday.
well, thank you. Well, you got a 10-year head start on me on your career. I started my first at the age of 29. So I think that's
29.
awesome that you started at 18.
Yeah. Who did you start with?
So I started with the company Beachbody. I did
Okay.
the P90X workout and fell in love with health and fitness.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. You guys had an incredible run. So,
Yeah. So talk
um,
to me a little bit about, I mean, that's some, and it's, I believe it's okay to talk income because it's not the business that you're
yeah,
in right
yeah,
now.
sure, sure.
So you built a six-figure business in like a year because you said you started at like 18. By 19, you're like, I'm out. So
Yeah.
what did that first year of business look like? Because that's a really fast growth. Like what type of work ethic, what do you think contributed to that?
Yeah. So there's a couple dynamics. I mean, and just to be clear, even though this was 25 years ago, so within a year, I was making 5,000 a month. And
Okay.
then by my, so I was 18. I just turned 18 when I got into affiliate marketing. Before I turned 19, probably when I was like 18, I don't know, I was like 19 and a half. I was making over 10K a month. So that's kind of how that worked. But, um, part of it, there's a couple dynamics. So one is back then, the advantage was you didn't have opportunities in front of your face every day.
Hmm.
And so when one came along, you jumped on it and you stuck with it. That was a huge advantage because now a lot of the challenges I see people have is, man, they got so many opportunities in front of them. It's almost like dating apps, right? Like so many people I see they're on dating apps. It's so toxic because they might be talking or go on a date with a wonderful person, but the very next day there's like four other girls or four other guys in their DMs, and they're not committed to any of them. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they've got too many options, right? So same is true with opportunities. When it comes to, like, let's just say affiliate marketing, I do one thing.
Hmm.
That's it. I don't have the energy to do two things. If I had the energy to do two things, I wouldn't be doing the one thing well enough. So part of my success secret from back then was that there wasn't a new opportunity in front of me every day, right? So I built the one that I had. And so that was one of the advantages, is there wasn't just kind of like this opportunity overload like there is today, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like you stuck with it. If things were hard, okay, who cares? Like, you keep going. Um, and I just had weird, there's interesting dynamics. Back then, the internet didn't exist. I mean, it did, but like, social media wasn't necessarily prevalent like it is today. And so the challenge was, the only way you could grow your business was like talking to people directly. Zoom didn't even exist, right?
Yep.
So my days back then were very different because it was a lot of like spot and stalk hunting. It was like, go to the gym, purposely work out next to someone. Like, you had to do whatever you had to do to talk to people. However, someone wanted to do that was up to them. I was willing to do whatever it took. I didn't care. I didn't care how I grew, I was willing to do anything. And so talking to people, and then obviously back then, home parties were really big, where you'd like do a meeting at your home. And Lubbock, Texas was a particular town that was really good to do this in, because Lubbock wasn't, it was a big city, but it didn't have big city amenities. So there was no professional football team or baseball team or basketball team. So you were very bored in Lubbock. And so
Okay.
it's like, if you weren't coming to my house tonight for the meeting, what are you doing, bro? You know? And it was the perfect environment to grow, a direct sales business back in the early 2000s in that way. So that, and a lot of sampling, and a lot, even more vision casting. I sampled people product, and then I shared my vision of where I was going, where they could go to if we joined forces, and the right ones came, and that's still true today. It's still what I would do today,
Yeah.
except for the home party part. We just don't do those anymore. I would. I love them. It's just they don't, the world doesn't want to do that. The world wants to make money from home in their pajamas. So the opportunity that can deliver on that takes over.
Yeah. That's really cool to hear because even I started 15 years ago, and when we did that, it wasn't really a home party, but we did like a local workout, and we had like 70, 80 people coming. It's like there's nothing else to do in Idaho Falls. Come work out
Dude,
with us, and the guys would like race each other. So it was like a fun, competition afterwards. We'd do like sprints down the road after,
oh
and
my
just
gosh.
created a community like that.
It's
Yeah.
genius. Genius. Yeah, you're releasing those endorphins. I mean, yeah, that was a genius move on y'all's part, doing hosting those little workouts.
Yeah, so that was fun. So there's more distraction now that we've kind of made that clear with social media. I mean, I get some DM about someone wanting to skyrocket my business or all different sorts of things every single day. So, what advice do you give to someone? I mean, this season of the podcast, we're mostly talking to people who are high earning, really experienced in direct sales, network marketing. And so, what advice would you give to someone that's starting now in this day and age?
Um, well, I mean, I don't know. Depends on what they want to do, right? So it depends on what they want to achieve. Um, I don't really know if I have like a certain. I mean, set me up a little bit better as far as
Yeah.
like, okay, you're a
Okay,
new
so
person. What do you want?
let's say someone comes in here and they're like, I'd like to supplement my income. It's hard to pay the bills right now. I'm working overtime, and I want to build a business, but I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to go get another job. Like, I want to do something to supplement this. Like, that would be cool if it replaced my income someday, but I just need to get at, like, I'm behind. What do I do to get started?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. So,
Yeah.
you know, the one advantage that you do have today, if you think about, let's just say 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago, you come to me and say that. You're like, I need to make some more income, I need to supplement my income. Well, then, okay, we're going to build some tents when you get off work. And then one day a week, we're going to go to the central market and the town square, and we're going to set up a booth and we're going to talk to people and try to sell those tents. And that's the only way you're going to be able to make additional income 5,000 years ago. Well, fast forward to today, the central market, the place where everyone meets up today, every single day is social media,
Mhm.
whether that be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So today, the marketplace, I shouldn't say the marketplace, the largest marketplace is social media. So today, it's like you're living in something called the golden age of the internet. The internet set everyone free. It's just most people don't know how to use it. So I would take someone like who's brand new that, doesn't want to go get another job, but maybe they want to make an extra, 500, 1,000, 2,000 a month. And the cool thing about today is they already have all these connections, whether it's 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 400 people that follow them on social media that know, like, and trust them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be following them. They wouldn't be friends. And so, back in the day, 25 years ago, I would have a new person make a list and we would have to awkwardly call their friends and family. Today, we don't do that. Today, all your friends and family already follow you. So it just seems like it seems like a smarter idea to give you content to post with something called a CTA, a call to action, to where if my Aunt Barbara sees my post and she's interested, she can comment. Otherwise, I'm not gonna like, Aunt Barbara, will you please support my new business? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me that's very rude and it's very manipulative. So we do everything today through attraction marketing where we put out content mainly educational. And that's why a lot of people that don't really like sales really like affiliate marketing because you're just educating about a product and then you're just guiding someone or sending someone a link. It's like not some kind of hard sales pitch because your educational content has already made them want to buy. So Scottie, you just run a few plays that we give you. Obviously, when someone gets started, we kind of have like this boot camp that kind of helps them get to 500 a month,
Yeah.
and it's like a daily boot camp. They just kind of follow follow it step by step. But in the meantime, if we can, if you can let me help you, or help let me help you direct some of your content flow, then that's going to become like a magnet that attracts customers to you. And if we can get one customer, we can get two. If we can get two, we can get three. If we can get three, we can get 30. So there's no limit to the amount of customers that you can go get per se. I mean, I guess there's a limit because like there's 8 billion people, but you couldn't get to them in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Um, so in that way, your income is potentially uncapped. And the thing I love about what you and I do, Scottie, is no one could ever call us and say, I don't know what to do to get another customer. Because you and I only have about 1,000 strategies in our back pocket.
Hmm.
And so if you could never call me and say you don't know what to do to get another customer, that means you're never going to be stuck if somebody, if someone's never going to be stuck if they work with you and I.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are stuck because they become affiliates and maybe they just don't have the systems in place or whatever. I don't know what causes them to be stuck, but they don't have the support like you get here, like you and I, we are not playing around with this. So my first piece of advice would be to, if you're going to get into affiliate marketing, don't join with some random lady named Peggy. Like you need to seek out a mentor who's successful with affiliate marketing, who's also hungry.
Yeah.
Um, just because like I also wouldn't necessarily join someone who's making 200,000 a month because I just wonder if they're sleeping in silk sheets. Are they still hungry? Because I want to take the ride with somebody. But mentorship is crucial. Finding the right mentor and just following a system. The cool thing about today is it's systematized, and we do a lot of things on social media. You can still do a lot of things offline, but to help someone supplement their income, like if you said, hey, gun to my head, I have to get to 1,000 or 2,000 a month. This is the first thing I'm taking you to. So,
Yeah. Just got to take it serious. You got to find someone. You got to be hungry. You made me think when I joined my first business, I knew about it for like 8 months. I was afraid to start. Like I'm working 12-hour days. My wife's working nights. I just had all these like doubts. Like I don't have enough time. I've never used social media,
right.
but I was hungry for something more. And that something more wasn't huge at the time. I just wanted to be home with my wife at night when I got home from work, not having separate shifts. And when I was like started to get serious, like, oh, maybe I could do that because I was watching people do it. I went out and I found the best. Like I researched, I talked to like three or four of them, and I'll give you guys a piece of advice. I got pitched by like 30 people with scripts, and I was like, ooh, I'm not doing that. They were all the same message.
Right.
And then I reached out to four people that I thought were the best just by researching on Google, YouTube. And like three of them were like, here's my website, take a look. And one of them said, "Give me a call." And I got on the phone with her, and her name's Lindsay Matway. I know you know her now.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
But
Yeah.
and it still took me 8 months after that conversation with Lindsay for me to join. I needed to
Oh,
just
wow.
watch her and see if I could trust her guidance and mentorship. And then when things got for me, I got to a point where we had our third daughter, and I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do this. I'm already 12-hour days. My wife's working nights, and I just felt this whisper like, call Lindsay, it's time. And so I'd sought out, I wanted someone that I knew I could trust and that knew how to build the
Yeah.
business.
So let me ask you this. So you said that, people were kind of pitching you and kind of following a script. Would you say when you talked to Lindsay, it was more, she did a better job of forming a heart connection?
Yeah, it was just a real connection.
Yeah.
It's funny, like I had these result pictures and I put them on a like page that with a product of the company. And so I immediately, it was like a Shark Tank of like, hey, the message were like, hey, will you get on a webinar with me at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night?
Oh,
Just to be able to,
gosh.
it like copy and paste. And then some of them were like, hey, I want to get on a three-way call with me and my upline. I didn't even know what an upline was. So I was like, what are you guys even
Right.
talking about?
Yeah.
And then Lindsay was just like, dude, those are incredible results. Like I knew how much hard work and effort that took. And I was like, I'm words of affirmation. So I was like, it was hard work and I am proud of that. And then she's like, you want to hop on a call?
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
but then she asked the good questions. The questions were like what do you do for work? Tell your wife, your kids, and how old are they? What are their names? And I remember the question was like, I worked in a steel factory and I was running the service department and the shipping department and writing the manuals. And she's like, "Is that what you always wanted to do with your life?" And I was like, it like stuck me like a knife because it wasn't. I just ended up there
Right.
because my dental lab career didn't work out.
Right.
So it was just asking hard questions and actually listening to me and not just pitching me some idea. So I think that's
Yeah.
crucial.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, Lindsay has, very good soft skills, like I mean, she's obviously very talented in many areas, but soft skills are a dying art form. And the person, if even like my sons, I've got a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old, but my 13-year-old's kind of getting to where, he kind of starting to wonder what his path's going to be, And as a father, the number one thing, like, and I'm sure you think about this too, Scotty, but one of the things I think about a lot as a dad is what's the advantage of having me as your dad? You know, if you think about your children, Scotty, what's the advantage of your children having you as a dad?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I want to give my kids as an advantage is to teach them soft skills, how to connect with another human, how to cause another human, just genuinely, how to cause them to like you within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And part of what you said was Lindsay talked about you. And it's a soft skill. Small talk is a soft skill. Just being able to kind of shoot the breeze with someone. People don't understand this. It's the number one way to build trust. Um, and that's why even like in my like on my social media stories, for example, I tell just a lot of down to earth stories as though you're sitting with me at hunting camp.
Sure.
Just it's not everything's all glitz and glamour. It's sometimes it's a cutoff shirt. and I'm just like talking to you very casually, storytelling, small talk. Um, the ability to connect with another human, where are you from, what do you do, and you actually care, you're truly curious. Those are soft skills, and it's a if someone can learn those soft skills, to me, it's one of the greatest advantages, you know.
Yeah.
So, do you have any input on that or
Yeah,
thoughts?
I do. Like that's something I learned that as a missionary for my church. So like I had to go out in a foreign country, Venezuela, speaking a language I barely knew. So it was very important for me to be able to connect with someone quickly so they could let me in the door so I could share a message with their family.
Yeah,
And a lot of times we would knock on a door and you'd try your hardest to do that and you'd get rejected. And I was very successful as a missionary because I used what I was passionate about and what I loved. So I don't think I've ever really trained on this or talked about this, but like before I left on that mission, like I was big into snowboarding. Like I was throwing flips off of like 40-foot cliffs and I skateboard and could jump garbage cans. I played the guitar. And so when we would be out proselyting, like looking for people, there was these thing called plazas. There was always a big statue in the middle, and the youth would gather around it at night. Like all the kids were around it. They'd be their acoustic guitars, they'd be skating, they'd be just talking. It'd be where your teenagers go nowadays.
right.
And so we would stop by there like 30 minutes before we were heading into bed every night. And like, I'll be like, hey, hand me that skateboard. And, I'm this white kid with a shirt and tie on and, nice shoes. And I'd do a kickflip and they'd be like, what? They thought we grew up in like some monastery and never talked to another human. And they're like, what? And I had a little picture book and I'd show them like me playing with my band, my mom and dad and sisters. And I'd grab the guitar and I learned some like Venezuelan punk songs and I'd play it and they'd sing along. So what would happen is those kids would go home, and what do parents do when their teenage kids get home? Where were you? Who were you hanging
What'd you
out with?
do?
They're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, we met this gringo, from the United States, and he's a missionary. And then they would want to meet me. They would want to see who their kids were talking to.
Right, right.
And so I built trust by talking about what I was passionate about and connecting with them, and then that would open the door.
Yeah, that's
Those
genius.
soft skills. So yeah, and it wasn't like this is my strategy. It's just what happened naturally. As I was just connect. Those kids were my age. I was only 19. They were 17 to 20, and so yeah, just the soft skills I learned at that time.
Did you said you played the guitar? Do you still play the guitar?
I have them right here. I got 5 of them right here. I actually met my wife at Warped Tour in 2005. I played music for 25 years.
Did you really?
Yeah, I wasn't playing there, but I played in a band and my wife promoted for a venue. So it's kind of crazy. We have a picture of her two friends that being my guitarist. That they came up to us and said, "Hey, can we take a picture so we can promote our venue?"
That's
And so I
crazy.
have a picture of the moment we met. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
But
dope. Very few people can
but
say that.
yeah, like building success creates time, as you know, effort, time, showing up, working on the skills. And, I played for 25 years. I didn't produce our first album with my band until we were probably 19 years. I was 19 years
Wow.
playing,
Wow.
and now it's on all the music platforms and all of that. And we got to play with bands like Red Jumpsuit Apparatus and Power Men 5000, all my favorites.
Yeah.
But man, that took 19 years before we got invited to play at those types of shows and write a band. I think sometimes people in life just want things so quickly.
Yeah. 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 You're exactly right. I think about that all the time. Like, you know, that's the other thing I would tell someone is like, I mean, just stick with, like if you got something you believe in, if the mechanics of the business are there, if you have a story that can scale and addresses let's just say for starters, $1 billion problem, then you got to stick with it. And there's the one thing I think about a lot of times is just even early on, right? Like the spirit of gratitude.
Mhm.
Um, and it's also why it's best to be worked part-time. Like let's just say affiliate marketing business, it's best if you work something like that part-time because then you have gratitude for anything above your normal paycheck from your job. But the mistake I see a lot of people do is they try to go full-time with it, And they try to force this brand new baby business to become an NFL athlete day one or month one, and it doesn't. And so they're like, ah, this is going to work. And they go on, and they get like squirrel syndrome and they go on to another business. And like when I made my first month, I made $1,200. I was so thankful for that.
Yeah.
And then my first royalty check from the company is like, from a team override was $7.99. And I was like, I remember looking at that check going like, oh my gosh, this is like oil money. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up in West Texas, like I mentioned. I was an hour and a half away from Midland, Texas, which at one time had more millionaires per capita than any city in the United States. And out in West Texas, there's all these oil horses going up and down. Their pump jacks, boom, boom. And every time they're going up and down, someone's family's making 70 cents, 80 cents, $1.23, $1.44, all day long while that pump jack's going up and down. But
Hmm.
I wasn't born into oil. My family didn't have a pump jack going on. So for me, affiliate marketing, the repeat business, I could introduce you to a product once. And then if you liked it, you continue to reorder on your own accord, but yet I could continue to get paid a commission from the manufacturer. Brother, that is the holy grail.
Yeah.
And even if it's just $100 a month, incredible. If it's $200 a month, incredible. And that attitude of mind of like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for this. I'm so happy for this. Well, that gives me the right attitude to keep expanding my vision more and more. But if it's like I make $100 and I'm like, well, I didn't make 10,000, well, then that attitude causes my income to shrink more and more. So
Yeah.
that attitude of gratitude, man, it's a special, like if someone can flip that switch and just have that just thankfulness to for whatever it is that you get, it's like even if it's $100 a month, even if it's $200 a month starting off, um, that continued spirit of gratitude is supernatural, man. I mean, it's a supernatural thing. So,
Dude, I want to say thank you for saying that because you brought back a memory I haven't thought about for a long time. I remember when I was working those 12-hour days, I was in a cubicle. There was four of us in this square room. And I remember I logged into my account and it was like $312 for the week.
yeah,
Dude, I stood up and I went over to my friend and I was like, dude, look at this. Like 300 bucks. That's freaking crazy. And I
yeah,
was just like, I think that's the moment where I was like, my life is going to be different,
yes,
you know?
yeah, it's huge, man. I mean, when you logged in and saw $300 for the week, bro, that's a steak night that's like we're going out for steaks tonight. Like
Yeah.
that's exciting on top of what you're already making at your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I look at that staying steak night. My wife worked at the Hilton Garden Inn, so we got like the discount hotels at any Hampton Hilton brand. I was like, that's a 2-night staycation, and we're going to eat with the girls.
oh
We're
yeah,
gonna go swimming for 2 days. We're gonna go to the movie theater. We're
heck
gonna do
yeah.
some big things. And the funny thing I think about, I remember sharing like about my business. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't say the amount, Aaron, but my paycheck helped us get a hotel and it was in town. We're doing a staycation. We're gonna take the girls swimming, and people were excited about that because an extra 500 a month, an extra 300 like it was for me in a week is life changing for most people.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's also realistic for most people. Like, you and I probably don't share our incomes anymore just because it's so far beyond people's realm of like possibility
Hmm.
that it's not worth sharing. It's like I want to share something that connects with you. Like no one's ever sharing their income to brag. They're sharing their income because life has a scoreboard. We all have bills to pay. You want to know if you pursue something, is the payoff there?
Yeah.
And man, my most magnetic time was between 100 a month and 5,000 a month because other people could hear that and go, I could do that too.
Yeah.
So, man, 300, I remember those checks with 300, 350, 380. I was just like, yes, baby.
Game on, my life has changed.
Oh yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
so when I attracted my first person that built a seven-figure a year income. It was like I earned my first year, I earned 10,800. That was the 1099 for a
Okay.
year's worth of effort. I worked like 3 to 4 hours a night, almost 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You look at that and you're like, 10,000 extra a year, that's supplemental. That could help me pay off some credit card debt or whatever. But if you look at like the dollar per hour, it's not the average person will be like, not worth it. I earn more than that at my job, so I'm not going to do that. But I remember I saved every bit of that. I used some to buy my product, some to go to the event, and then the rest, I had like it was like 8,000 bucks left. I saved it. It went into one account. I didn't touch it. And I made one extra payment to my mortgage, to my principal, of my mortgage.
Mm.
And I talked about that, and that's what attracted the first person into my team that went on to build a seven-figure business because she related to that because she lost her home in a foreclosure.
Oh,
And she
wow.
was like, how is somebody in my hometown, like, how do you have that much extra to put towards your mortgage?
Yeah.
And it was like, but that was like my whole year's earnings, you know,
Dude,
and just use it
huge.
smart. But it was something that related to her that touched her and been like, oh man, this might be the thing for me. But here's the interesting fact I think affiliates need to hear is she went and bought the product without reaching out to me. She went into the lead program and she used it and she lost like 50, her and her husband lost like 50 pounds each and they'd been struggling to lose weight. And then she came to me almost a year later
Wow.
and she's like, hey, this is going to sound weird, but I've been stalking you ever since that post. She's like, I believe the product. I see what you do. Like I've watched what you do for the past, 8, 9 months, and I could do what you do. Will you show me how to do it? And that's what it takes. But I share that story because for two reasons. One, cast a vision of what you're doing. Like I was talking about how I was going to pay off my house.
Yeah.
But number two is like what would have happened because I hadn't recruited any strong builders in that 9 months if I was like, it's just not, I can't, no one wants to do this with me. No one's building with me. I'm on my own.
Yes.
But because I stayed true to that vision, just kept working the plan, the system that was in place, when she was ready, like I was there for her. And I think too many people in this type of business aren't there when their prospects are ready.
Oh, man.
And so they go on to join Wes, who's there for 25 years,
Yeah.
go to join me. And I'm like, man, if you like, I just want to like shake someone in the beginning. I'm like, hey, these people that are reaching out and ask you questions, or you reach out to them and they're like, maybe not yet. And maybe they ghost you or they say yes and they don't. I'm like, man, if you plan on quitting, just send me the list and I'll help them out when they're ready.
Oh, dude. No, that's so good you bring that up. I was even thinking about that when you talked about even your own personal, because like even for someone like Lindsay to enroll someone like you, it'd be a dream because
Yeah.
you're like a dream teammate. You're very regimented. You follow through. You're even kill. You're not like super emotional, super excited. Like you are who you are day to day. So think about that. You use the product for 8 months. Then you talk to Lindsay. Then it was still 8 months later before you joined. That's over a year and a half.
Yeah.
And even in the case in the story that you just shared, most people are not there to capture the treasure,
Yep.
because they've already quit. And the only reason why you quit, that's why I was telling the story of gratitude earlier, because the only reason why you ever quit is if you lose perspective of how special this is. Even in talks of like the oil well. Um, if I wanted to go buy an oil well for my family now, the conversation starts at about $1 million to $2 million.
Hmm.
And that might make us 1,000, 2,000 a month, or for $0 and maybe getting some products and stuff like that, I can build the same oil well. The bank account doesn't care. I can build the same oil well here predictably in the next month, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So, but I wouldn't be able to see that if I didn't have that perspective. So that's huge that you mentioned just that time. Um, And again, it doesn't have to take a long time. Sometimes it goes quick, but
Yeah.
I think something else I even think about, and I show this to people often. Let's say you pursued a business part-time for 10 years, and 10 years later, you were making an extra, let's just say 10,000 a month. Would that be worth it?
Dude, so worth it.
Dude, that's a better plan than every single person you went to high school with.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, if I now project my goals out and say, okay, I'm going to give this thing everything I have for 10 years. Well, then shoot, dude, like I'm probably going to hit that goal. What happens for people is they go, I want to make 10 grand in 10 days. And they've never made 10 grand before.
Yep.
And so then when they don't make 10 grand, so for some reason, people will go from never making 10 grand to now when they join affiliate marketing, if they're not making 10 grand in a month, oh, okay, it doesn't work. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
uh, so increasing and increasing your time horizon, it's like I always think about too, like even just the vision you had to want to join as the business. I believe that God puts that dream or that vision of possibility in your heart. So sometimes we call God like the dream giver. And
Hmm.
so it's like God puts a vision or a dream in your heart, but you've got to give that seed, that dream seed, time to blossom. You have to protect that dream seed from, dream stealers and naysayers. But the number one person that you have to protect that dream seed from is yourself, of your false expectations, of your delusional, uh, expectations of what you expect the business to do in a certain amount of time. And the way you can, again, always protect yourself and protect your dream and that type of thing is to maintain perspective and gratitude. If I have an attitude of gratitude, I am going to win. If anyone on the planet maintains that attitude of gratitude, it's not a matter of if, it's now a matter of when. So it's such a simple secret. It's like a lot of times when you do a podcast, I even have a desire to like want to share something very scholarly with everybody. But it's like, man, the simple stuff is where you get sometimes the biggest breakthrough, like internalizing that simple concept that we're talking about.
Yeah. Having that attitude. I'm just going to repeat what I'm hearing. Having that attitude of gratitude, just being so grateful for everything that's there. You'll be given more I believe, when you do that. God gives you a dream. Like there's a way for it to happen. You just got to give it time. And, the soft skills that you were talking about, just learning those soft skills. It's something that can be hard to be taught in a training. It's going to take practice of when you go to the gym, just talk to people and
Yeah.
genuinely be curious about who they are and meeting them. So you've been in this 25 years. I know you had some big visions that you've had in your life, some that you've brought to fruition. You probably have some more. Talk to us a little bit about vision. What was something that really drove you in the beginning? What drives you now?
Yeah, early on, my dream, of course, growing up in Texas, my dad got me into hunting at a young age. So my parents got divorced whenever I was 5 years old. My dad moved to Austin. I was still in Lubbock, about 6.5 hours away. But every weekend, we had a deer lease about and kind of in between those two cities. So every weekend growing up, my granddad would bring me and my little brother to that city to go hunting with my dad for the weekend. So I grew up every weekend hunting and I never got in trouble. I was never at the parties because I was always out in the woods hunting. So it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
But it certainly the thing I didn't like about a deer lease is people could tell you what to do. And so I'm like, I want to get some land where no one can tell me what to do. So the dream became to own, a property, a ranch. And but when I first had that dream, I didn't have the money for it. And I felt like I was a long ways away from it. But I walked into this, it was kind of like an art shop one day, and they had these two metal deer silhouettes matching. And I'm like, man, those would look so good on a gate. Well, so what I did is I bought those deer silhouettes to have as a reminder. And, I kept speaking my vision, I kept building my business. And sometimes my business would like go down. So in my mind, I'm like getting further from the ranch. But uh, and I remember sometimes like I pull into my garage, that's where I kept them, and they'd be getting dust on them, and I kind of forget about them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have those stupid deer silhouettes. Like, dude, you're not gonna get like you're so far from a ranch right now. But I just kept them, and finally, I was close enough. One of the secrets I learned was the bank only asks you about the past 90 days.
Hmm.
So if you think about it, I'm only 90 days away if we're talking about, qualifying for a purchase. Not that people should go into debt, but you're only 90 days at any given time from unlocking some of your wildest dreams. For me, it was a ranch. And I've always, since then loved land. Um, I also like having a lot of cash in the bank, but cash is fleeting. We're getting paid when we get paid in dollars, we're getting paid in ice cubes. And so it's melting, so I had to get that money into some other type of asset where it's outgrowing the loss value of cash.
Right.
So, and today, my favorite one's Bitcoin, but the second one's land. And um, so I finally bought my very first property. It was 400K, and I saved up $80,000, which, you know what? Just about anyone could do. I saved up about $80,000 over a 3 or 4 or 5 year period,
Hmm.
building my business building my business. And the very first thing, the day I bought that ranch, my dad, number one, was so proud because no one in our family had ever owned land.
That's
And the
cool.
very first thing he did was he mounted those two deer silhouettes on the gate. And man, it was just such a cool day. And so when I
Getting the
sold,
chills.
oh, dude, it was awesome. And so even when I sold the ranch, the only thing I took with me was I took those two deer silhouettes, and I still have them. And they'll go on the gate of my next ranch and my next ranch and my next ranch. I've got another ranch now, but it's more of an investment property. But anyways, you know, eh, those deer silhouettes were like a constant reminder. And so you've got to do something that gives you a constant reminder. To my left over here is an entire vision wall. So
Oh,
it's like
lovely.
places I want to take my family. I like cars, Scotty.
Yeah.
It's not popular, but I got all the cars that I want. Um, the perfect type of driveway. Because if you like cars, then the driveway matters and how the garage is set up matters. The perfect closet, the perfect movie theater room, and I literally spend a few minutes every single day just looking at the vision board. And then it's like I ask myself a question: what is the best next step to move towards some of these things?
Oh, that's a beautiful
And then
question.
and then boom, the idea hits, the idea hits, the idea hits. So and then though what I do is I act on it. I assume that that idea comes from God. And so, I think about like if I have a kid, if I have a child and I give him a really good business idea and he doesn't act on it, am I going to keep giving him business ideas? No. But if he acts on it, then I'll give him the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. So again, I try to just be a good steward of even thoughts that come into my mind and ideas that come into my mind to grow our business or grow our team or grow the company. But what stimulates that is what do I want and when do I want it by?
Yeah.
Not only have most people by the age of 30 not achieved their dreams of earlier years, they can't even remember what they were. If we asked your children what do they want for Christmas, boy, they could spit off a list of 20 things by the end of the day. You ask an adult what do they want, they're like, they don't remember.
Yep.
So the first secret is like you got to remember your dream. Part of what helps you remember the dream is that you know, get access to a financial vehicle. In this case, what we're talking about is affiliate marketing that can actually unlock your dreams. When you have the ability, if you want to go build 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 a month business, well, then you start to remember some of those dreams.
Yep. That's been the most beautiful thing. We're like breathing dreams into people's lives. My wife was talking about that when we lost our former business of 15 years and trying to decide what to do next. Like I love this work. I love helping people feel better. Well, here's an interesting fact. Like I got very clear on my mission, not like a vision or a goal, but my mission was to remind people that their families are most important work on earth. Yeah, that's why you see me go on a date with my wife every single Thursday from noon to 5.
Yeah.
So help people remind people their families are the most important work on earth, help people feel better, and help families earn more income for their family. And so that's I've been very clear on that mission for 15 years. So when I needed to make a next decision or pivot on what to do next, when I had a talk with Justin, it was like very clear. I was like,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
I was like, I can continue making, reminding people that their families are most important work on earth. I can help people feel better than I did before even. and I can help people earn more for their family even better than before. So it was a very easy to make that pivot. But my wife talks about how um, like we made this decision to sell this dream home that we're in right now. Kind of like the vision board you were talking about. I was like, dude, that was me. Uh, and
Yeah,
and and we made this decision to sell it, and then over the course of a few days, I had a dream. Like you said, God speaks to us, or gives us visions and
sure.
or whispers. Like I had this dream. Like so, this is a long story short. I used to come to this build. This took 2 years to build, and I have a rocking chair I got from the thrift store, and I put it on the back deck. And I before the deck, I would just drive out here every single day for 2 years. I'd sit on the deck, and I just kind of imagine what it would be like to live here. So I was very clear on visualizing what it would be like to be here. And then we lost our business. I was like, we got to sell this. Let's just like simplify our life. But then I had this dream. It was like 4 days after we lost our business that I was sitting on the deck in that rocking chair with another rocking chair with my wife. And I saw my kids out in the yard playing, and I saw these little kids, and I didn't recognize them. And I realized that they were my grandkids, my future grandkids. And like I woke up and it was like pitch dark. My wife was still asleep. And so I was like just like praying and journaling. What does this mean? Like, because we just decided to sell this dream, this house.
Right.
And I felt this very strong message to me saying, I just wanted to see if you were willing to give up any material things. But I showed you this dream to let you know that it's still alive. Like
Mhm.
you have the ability and the vehicle to make it happen. And so I called my builder that morning at like 7 a.m. I was like, keep building, man. We're not going to sell this thing. And so you just reminded me of just the importance of visualizing that dream, about listening to those whispers and knowing that it is capable. But the thing that my wife shared with me, she's like, you know what I think you're not thinking about? Like seeing your friends or the people that have followed you, seeing you take on this big of a thing is going to empower them to go after even those seemingly small things that are going to be big for them, because they seeing you take the courage to go do that. So I think it's beautiful what you've done to empower other people as well.
Yeah, you as well, dude. Chills with your story as well, your vision, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, brother, I know you have a meeting to get to, and I have a date to be on here in 6 minutes, so we'll wrap this up. But do you have any last words of wisdom for someone out there that wants to build something incredible?
Yeah, I mean, just stick with it. It's like the one thing I think about is no matter what's going on in my life right now, I've already won the lottery. Like every single one of us, we had a 1 in 400 trillion chance of even being born. So the second you were born, you already won. This is the bonus round.
Beautiful.
It's like you can go do and be anything that you want, but we get so caught up in the day to day and what's not working. And it's like, man, you got to transcend past all that because your life can be as good as you'll allow it to be. Everything in life is permission based. The amount of money in your bank account, your relationships with your family, um, where you live, your environment, your health, your fitness, your spirit, your spiritual fitness, your emotional fitness, everything is permission based. So I hope if you listen to me and Scottie's podcast, you'll make a decision whether you join in affiliate marketing or not to invest the rest of your life finding out just how good life can get, because it can get as good as you'll allow it to be. So that'd be my final little
I
sentiment.
love that. That's beautiful. I've been like on this thing for the last 4 years, Wes, where like I just get lost in these thoughts. Like, 'cause I try to just stay off social media, the scrolling, and just be with my thoughts. And I'm just always in awe. Like sometimes I'll just get like, this is crazy that we're like on this earth that's spinning, that we even have this life. I'm like that I have a wife that was born in a whole different country, and like how everything just aligned. And it's like I love that message that you shared. And if we can just accept that this life is beautiful and we shouldn't waste not a moment of it. I'm just trying to
Yes,
be better, grow people, and be kind to others. Like I love it.
absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. Good
dude,
wrap,
I
my
enjoyed
friend.
this conversation. Looking forward to spending more time with you in the future.
Me too,
Scotty, we'll
Scotty. We'll
talk
talk
soon.
soon.
Thank you for joining us on this episode with Wes Bewley. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation we shared with you today. We're here to remind you that your family is your most important work on earth, help you feel better, and learn how to earn more income for your family. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a positive review, clip what you like, or share it with a friend. My friend, it's time to level up.